Hello students, this is Mr. Wilsey, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Logger Pro to do some video analysis. So first thing, presumably your video is on your iPad, so hook your iPad up to the computer, and then go to iPhoto down here. iPhoto is going to bounce around a little bit, and then the next step is, soon your iPad device will appear over here, then scroll to the very bottom, and the most recent video that you recorded should be around here. Make sure just to import selected. Do not import your whole library. Import selected, and then wait a little bit for it to import. Tick tock, tick tock. Okay, and then here you want to make sure to keep the photos on your iPad. Keep the movie, just in case you need to use a different computer at some point in time. So keep photos. Perfect. So there it is. Then we're going to go to Logger Pro. So go to the Spotlight tool up at the top right. Logger Pro. Enter, and then Logger Pro will open up. Okay, and then we see this. Now the first step is to insert the movie. So you're going to go to Insert, Movie. Now over here, scroll to the very, very bottom. You'll see Movies. And then these are all of your imported movies. Go to the very bottom here, and you'll see the most recently imported movie, which is presumably the one that you're interested in. Open that up, and then voila, you will see your movie. Now this movie is rather large in size, so we're going to come down here and make it smaller. Oh, look at that, it automatically changes size the way it needs to be. Now we're going to press play, and then you're going to wait until you see the object that you want to record start to move. There we go. So in this video I have a coffee filter. Right about here looks good. Okay. So this is the beginning of the motion. And the first thing that you need to do is record this number right here. You see that? 06.000. That tells you that the object starts moving at 6 seconds. So write that number on a scratch sheet of paper because we're going to need it again soon. Now the next step is to come down here, the little dots, and then we're going to start placing points where the object is. Now in this case, the coffee filter is a large object. It's an extended object. So we have to pick some part of the coffee filter to consistently put our points on. Okay, so I'm going to try to aim for dead in the center of the middle of the coffee filter. So I'm going to press a point. Perfect. And then the movie automatically skips forward a frame, so put another point down. You have to be really, really careful about this. Really, really careful. Now, if you can't see the object actually move from one frame to the next, don't just pile a bunch of points on top of each other. Skip forward a frame manually until you can definitely see that the object has moved. Ruler here. Now, you might notice in this video, I forgot to have some sort of measuring instrument in the field of view. You want to try to make that happen, but if you forget, that's all right. Just go back to the place where you recorded and then measure something in the field of view. You need to measure something that is close to where you drop the object, or it's really close to wherever the object is moving. In this case, I went out to my living room and I measured the height of the chair here. Okay, the height from right here to right here, so I just clicked and I dragged, was 0.58 meters. Now try to use meters if you can. Okay, perfect. Now you can notice that my scale was set over here on the graph. Now the next thing to do is to set your origin. So you're going to come here, and then it doesn't really matter where you set your origin, I guess, but what I like to do is put it right where I drop the object. So I'm going to come right here, and then you're going to shift left, or you're going to click on the yellow dot, and you can rotate the X and Y axes. But preferably what I want you to do is have the Y axis be up and down. Okay? The yellow dot indicates the positive X axis. So The one down here is the negative y-axis, so that should line up with up or down. Okay, so what I'm determining to be up or down is the window here. Okay, so my negative y-axis lines up with the window pretty well, and so it looks good. Now, the next thing is to set the origin for time. That means that you want the very beginning of the object's motion to be at 0 seconds. So in order to do that, we're going to come down here, click on that. Now the graph time you want to be 0. The movie time is going to be that number that you recorded a little bit ago. In this case, the number that I recorded was 6 seconds exactly. Now make sure that this box up here is checked and then hit OK. Alright, now let's look at our graph. Okay, wonderful. This is our graph. The blue dots represent the Y position of the object. That means that it represents the Y coordinate of the dots over time. The red dots tell you the X coordinate of the object. So in this case, the blue dots going down tell me that my object is going down. The red dots moving slightly up tell me that my coffee filter is floating over to the right. Okay? So X direction and Y direction. Now, we might be interested in a velocity versus time graph. So in order to do that, all you need to do is go to Insert, Graph, and it appears. Okay? This tells you the Y velocity right here. Notice that my velocity is constantly becoming more and more negative at a constant rate. That means the slope is more or less equal. So what I want to do is I want to try to find what the acceleration of my coffee filter was. The acceleration can be found by finding the slope of the line of best fit passing through these points. So once I have an area highlighted, I'm going to go to Analyze, Linear Fit, and bada bing, there it is. Now the slope right here tells me what my acceleration is during this time. So my coffee filter was accelerating at about negative 1.17 meters per second. The y-intercept should be the initial velocity of the object. This says that my coffee filter was already moving. It already had a velocity when it appeared in the movie frame. All right. Now you might also be interested in finding the x velocity. So let's do that. We're going to go to Insert Graph. So here again, it automatically plots the y velocity, but if you click here, you can change any of these. You can change the graph to plot any of these, so let's plot x velocity. There we go. Now this looks kind of weird, you can see, but there it is. That's the x velocity. Now, let me show you some other things you might be interested in doing. If you want to change the scale on your graphs, just come over here to the top and you can click and you can type in a number. I'm going to type in 0, enter, there we go, and it sets it to be 0. Down here, click right around here, I can type in -2, there we go. Now you can also change the domain of your best fit line. Let me show you what I mean by that. You see this little bracket here and the little bracket here? If you click on them, well, let's try it again. If you click on them, there we go. You can drag and you can change the domain of the points that you want to look at. You can do the same thing over here.